Hi, it's Heather Lee, the Frugal Fashionista, and I wanted to do this video on work style. There are a lot of rules out there as far as what you should wear to work, and I'll be honest with you, I want you to ignore about 95% of those rules. What colors to wear, like for instance, years ago, red was a power color, and they said don't wear red because that's too aggressive, wear blue. And so all the analysts have tons of ideas about what to wear. So what I'm going to give you today are some principles that you can incorporate into your work wardrobe or into your interview outfit. And so these are overarching principles, and then I hope to do a couple of videos telling you how to style. So I even wore one of my blazers for you, so that way I kind of fit the role today, because I actually did wear this to work. So the first thing to consider is, what is the culture of the job you're applying for? Some jobs are more casual than others, and some jobs obviously have dress codes. So for example, if you're going to work at Target, you're pretty sure you're going to wear a red shirt and khaki pants, and there are ideas on what you're allowed to wear for that particular employer. But most employers don't have a set dress code, or maybe they have a couple of rules. So what you need to do is figure out what the culture of that particular organization is. If you can do some intel, maybe you know somebody who is works there, or maybe you're familiar with that particular company, you can find out what is appropriate for that company to interview in. I also don't have a problem with asking human resources when they schedule the interview, hey, what is the culture of the organization? What is it casual? Is it more is it a little bit more formal, because I want to dress appropriately? And I don't see that being an issue with asking HR those particular type of questions. Now, if you've been in an industry for a while, there's a standard. Like in my case, I have to interview in a suit, even though I probably wear suits 3 or 4 times a year, although that seems to be increasing. But for my day-to-day job, I don't wear a whole lot of suits, but it is customary to interview in one. So find out the particular culture of that organization. When you do interview, watch other people, see what they're wearing, and not just note the culture of the organization as a whole, but also note the positions people are in. For example, the receptionist may dress one way, managers may dress another, people in the sales department may be more formal, people in a creative department may not be as formal, they may be business casual. And so it really just depends from position to position. So for example, in my area of expertise, which is higher education, my department's a little bit more casual, business casual, compared to our business school, which tends to wear a lot of suits. And obviously administration, suits all the time. Their business casual is a little bit more dressed up than even what I'm wearing, because right now I'm wearing jeans, which is perfectly appropriate for my department. And it also depends on what I'm doing for any given day. So if I'm in the classroom, I dress differently than if I'm going to spend a day just in my office and have very little interaction with other people. So consider the culture, consider the position, and again, break the rules slightly. Here are the rules for dressing for work: modesty, cleanliness, appropriateness. Those are the 3 rules, and that changes from organization to organization. Some organizations may feel that multiple piercings are perfectly fine. Some don't. Some have limitations on tattoos. The general rule of thumb is to err on the side of caution, but once you start working there, you can kind of find where the guidelines are, even if there's not a dress code. And again, feel free to ask your managers, because they would rather you show up for work appropriately than for you to come to work and dress inappropriately, and in some cases send you home if you're not appropriate. So for example, there were a lot of rules about what you could wear with a suit, and they tell you to wear a solid color top. The people who make these rules on the internet, whoever they are. And I've worn floral tops, I've worn polka dots. There are ways to incorporate patterns into your clothing. So if you are working for a conservative organization, look for things like polka dots, chevrons, minimal abstract prints, stripes, this sort of thing, particularly pinstripes. Those are considered to be all around perfect patterns for you. So that are not really that controversial. So you can definitely incorporate those into your wardrobe. And again, consider the culture. Leggings are never pants, so I don't care where you work. Unless you're a dance instructor or a aerobics instructor, there's really no reason you should be wearing leggings to work as pants. Now, I've worn leggings under dresses. In fact, I will tomorrow, as a matter of fact, because I'll be crawling under tables trying to hook up equipment. So that's the other part of my job outside the classroom. And I need to dress appropriately because obviously if I'm wearing a skirt or a dress, I can't do that appropriately. That would be showing a little bit more of myself than I want to show. So find ways of putting your styling into your clothing. You don't have to give up trendy or boho or classic just because you're at work. And most people tend to pull themselves back. They kind of become a minimalist type of person because they are so scared of upsetting their bosses and upsetting other people. The other thing too is to make sure that what you're wearing is comfortable and breathable. And the great thing about career wear now is that a lot of it is breathable. This is fairly breathable. It's a little thicker than I probably should be wearing for this time of year, but make sure like underneath I have a strapless top, or a strapped top rather, a halter that I would not wear ordinarily by itself. So obviously I have a jacket over it for work. But it is cooler than if I was wearing something that had sleeves. So find those breathable patterns. Jersey cotton is a great pattern if you can find a pattern. What's the word I'm looking for? Jersey cotton is a great fabric because it is breathable and it's easy to work with, particularly if it's hot weather or you're doing a lot of movement. So look for shoes and clothes that are comfortable, they're breathable. There's tons out there that you can find because uncomfortable is never sharp. So if you look uncomfortable, it will display into your general wear. So those are the tips for work style. So just to review, make sure that you are comfortable in breathable wear. Make sure that you're observing the culture and the position for which you're applying for and or working with. And don't be afraid to incorporate color and patterns into your clothing. If you have any questions, definitely ask those people you work with, your manager, human resources, but don't sweat it. If you need to wear a suit, wear a nice tailored suit. Don't worry about all the rest because quite honestly, if they're that concerned about what you're wearing, you probably don't want to work for them because they're not considering your attributes and what you bring to the job. And I know no one, myself included, that has ever not gotten a job because I wore a purple top or whatever. I think as a communication expert, I think all that's bunk. I think it's great clickbait on the internet, but as far as being useful information, not so much. So that's work style, and look for my style tutorials on how to update your work style and your other type of style outside of the office. And I will speak to you again soon. Happy shopping!